everyone. Welcome to the Wealthy Retailer Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Holman. Here we are recording for the week of September 17th already, Rob. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's creeping up on us. We've been fortunate every weekend. It drops to freezing cold and then warms up midweek. So happy hump day, everyone, as we record. A nice sunny day here. Some good headlines this week. Starting off with, I think it's going to be my new favorite word for the week, BOPIS. How's your BOPIS strategy looking out? Buy online and pick up in store. So we'll talk a bit about that.
Yep.
Major brands, I'll say, versus major retailers, that battle for that brick and mortar direct to consumer. We got a story and discussion around that. Some stories about some big hiring going into the holiday season. So, for our independent retailers, what does the staffing look like? And, obviously a big shift to online for many categories, pet stores and suppliers included. So we'll have a discussion there as well. So our first story, back to my favorite new word of the week, BOPIS. Buy online, pick up in store. And obviously so many of our retailers were forced to just, this is how they had to operate for quite some time with the pandemic going on. But one of the things in this story that I found super interesting was that they were finding, it came from mytotalretail.com, just to give the proper shout out there. But it talked about, 75, 80% of customers that came to pick up their online order ended up making additional purchases. So what an awesome opportunity there. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, not a new concept, been around for a long time. Certainly elevated, its presence with curbside pickup and the idea of some level of contactless, in this bullshit environment that we're living in today. But certainly this has been the case for all of our independents that practice this strategy of buy online, pick up on store. And it doesn't really matter how I buy it online. It's that I bought it virtually, whether it was through an e-com or social selling. Right. I think we'll talk a little bit about, maybe Ray-Ban a little later.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you capture that sale. The goal is the same. Let's get the customer in the store. And, different than buying something from, from a large chain, from a big department store and picking it up there. There's more convenience to the buy it online and pick it up in the store. Best Buy opted to, you got to buy online and you can pick it up at the door front through most of COVID. And really that just meant, that I avoided lines and congestion and sifting through the mounds of crap that are in some stores. But for our independent retailer, this is really an opportunity to get to know your customer better, to invite them in, to do a try on, to add those complementary items to whatever their purchase was. Remember, online we buy items, in store we buy outfits. Online we sell items, in store we sell outfits or total solutions. This is hyper critical in today's market share landscape, and gaining and earning more market share. I've got to do a better job with the customer, and the ability to buy it online and then come into store and get that same in-store experience, critical, trumps all.
Yep. No, I like that point about, I'll say the bigger stores, it's probably more about convenience. People have clearly said, I don't want to come in there at all. Like, just give me a defined parking spot and let me just get out of here as quick as I can. But, the small retailer having that, that plan, that strategy, it's not just a basket, come pick it up. It's, we're going to ask that, would you like a belt with that? And adding to that experience. And we're seeing the data to support that. That's money walking out the door if you don't have that bit of strategy for you and your team to keep that journey going for them.
Right. And this article and Total Retail, great place to get some of your great retail news. It really hit on two other things in this particular article. Social media is absolutely a sales channel, and you've got to reinvest in email, reinvest in that ability to talk to your customer with email. Through the pandemic, a lot of people shifted energy to Facebook and Instagram and abandoned their emails. no plug for sending a weekly email here, Rob.
Yeah.
You've got to talk to your customer. You've got to stay
Totally.
relevant, and email's the way to do it.
Right on. Okay, our next story. We've been locked in our houses for way too long, and many of us want to have our Tom Cruise moment, dancing around in our underwear, and what better way to do that than to have a good pair of Ray-Bans on. Ray-Ban, which is, for years, they've only been available in other retailers in Canada, and they just launched their first standalone store in Canada. We're seeing other brands do that. What's your thoughts here, Dan?
Yeah, totally. We're going to see lots of this. Ray-Ban is taking a step. Let's recognize first and foremost, that retail storefront that they put up is just a marketing channel. It's not about capturing that audience in store. I mean, yes, that's a convenience. This is a marketing act. This is a marketing initiative for Ray-Ban, just like it is for many, many, many other big brands that are opening small, boutique type retail environments. So these guys are not pulling out of, the traditional Sunglass Hut or the airport stores or anywhere else that you're getting your Ray-Bans, some of our better optical stores. They're not pulling out.
Yeah.
They're increasing market share by getting their brand in front of more people, and they've chosen brick and mortar as their medium. And it's been happening for a long time. It's not going to change. And we actually need to, I want to say, embrace some of this, as they become a little bit more relevant. There's a reason for people to buy their Ray-Bans from me now versus the Ray-Ban store. Maybe they get a little better service from me. Maybe they get other things from me.
Right.
And I'm raising the Ray-Ban awareness. And that's their goal. Their goal is absolutely to use, their
build more Ray-Ban customers. Right.
Yeah.
So you don't see it
channel
as necessarily a competitive thing to our independent retailers so much.
No, not at all. I don't. And I think depending on the type of brand that you're looking at, Patagonia, North Face, Goose, there's so many examples, Untuck It. There's so many examples where we're seeing corporate stores pop up that is actually supporting, the brand within independent or in multi-brand stores. Right. And again, I'm going to just repeat this. Yep. This is part of their advertising budget. And we've talked like this for a long time.
Many times, yep.
Advertising and occupancy are a connected expense. This is about them gaining more market share through a brick and mortar channel, not a digital channel.
Okay. Oh, it's great. Great points. Folks, remember, if you need help with those channels, this podcast is brought to you by Canadian Retail Solutions. From the latest point-of-sale software to merchandise intelligence, open-to-buy plans, and more, let them help you find your cutting-edge retail solution today. Visit retailbycrs.com. Remember, folks, they are here to help you. Okay, so heading into the holiday season, we've got a story here from Payments. Yeah, sorry, that was me. Payments.com, PYMNTS.com. That should be a jingle. I'll work on that a little later. Anyways, it talks about 1-800-Flowers. It talks about Michael's. Big companies really gearing up. But we want to take this into our world with the independents. Dan, what are some of your thoughts on staffing going into the busy season?
Okay, this is maybe out of left field for a lot of people, but I believe this is going to be the best holiday season we've had in 20. Nice. I believe that we're going to see more and more, clients nesting, more and more time spent at home, more and more investment in home and family, and that maybe means, we got to rally our teams here. We've got to expect maybe better traffic, not expect. We've got to predict better traffic. As good leaders, one of our key attributes is the ability to predict both short-term and long-term. And predicting short-term, buying the right amount of goods in the right category at the right time, staffing my store appropriately, watching, that traffic trend pick up day over day, week over week, month over month, and staffing my store happens not based on my sales volume, but rather based on my traffic volume. So if you're not counting traffic, you better start counting
Right.
traffic.
Yeah.
Even if it's a stick man on a piece of paper,
Yep.
you've got to know what your traffic is. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we start to talk about a little bit of indie store truth. You've got to count your traffic. And Michael's, this story on payments, I think it was payments, if I'm not mistaken, talked about they're going to load up, a couple 100,000 employees across the country. And that's really what independent needs to do as well. We've got to be preparing ourselves today for what November, December is going to bring to us. And you got to double down on staff. You got to coach them, train them, retrain, and training not in the negative sense they don't know what they're doing. It is the refresher. There's nothing better than a great systematic coaching plan.
Yep.
This is what happens when. Do this when.
And when you think year over year, like this has been a season of, back to our BOPIS for a moment, where stores have worked really hard to increase their digital sales, get into the store, combine that with even just a regular season of traffic, you're dealing with a lot more people coming in your door, right, and getting prepared for that. And crossing fingers, toes, and that we have a great season to make back some of the losses that everyone's had this year.
Yeah. And hope's not a strategy. We've got to be prepared for it. We've got to plan for it. We've got to drive our own traffic as much as wait on, natural elevation in traffic. But more important, Rob, it is critical in our stores that we are planning for this. Planning at an inventory level, planning at a staff level, planning at a financial level for a better season. We're still going to have this COVID bullshit challenge restriction. Yep. Don't touch that, stand there, don't stand there. We're still going to have these challenges over the next couple of months. It's not going away that quickly. And, we've got to be better staffed. People want to be served. They want to be served. They don't want to stand shoulder to shoulder to their neighbor anymore, or in this climate, they don't want to stand shoulder to shoulder with their neighbor. They want a little bit of space. The stores are going to have to be a little more spread out like we've seen over the last 6 months and replenished frequently.
Right.
Got to staff up.
Okay, you mentioned a bit earlier, indie store truths. We talk each week about, you've got a couple great videos on your website. One of them is a selling system video, and one of the items from there is indie store truths. And maybe it should be hard truths, but I know, Dan, you're not afraid to talk about the hard truths, but all in the spirit of helping our retailers. So over to you.
Well, this really is kind of how we kicked off the selling system video. Most of our selling system talks, or when we talk about how do we change the way we sell in our stores, and it's a philosophical change. And I always kick this off with, here's some indie store truths. Number one, most retailers lack a well-defined selling system. They don't know what a selling system is. It's all happenstance. It happens by accident. It's not a defined, structured system. That leaves a gap. Another truth, second truth, I guess, 80% of your advertising dollars are wasted on bad salespeople. Bad salespeople that don't know what the hell they're doing, that have no recognition of the natural consequence that happens in a sale. And three, sales volume is consequential. I talk to retailers every single day about improving their sales. And I find myself reminding people over and over and over again, which is okay. That's about being a good coach, a good parent. Sales volume is consequential. Systems define outcomes. You have to understand what makes up your sales volume, and that's what you work on. There are 3 key factors. Number 1 is traffic, either through your front door or on your website. Traffic is the number 1. Traffic times conversion. Better defined as your ability to connect with your customer, to be able to engage her or him and understand their real needs and present total solutions. Total solutions equals average sale. Traffic times conversion times average sale equals sales volume. When we want to improve sales in our store, We start by, well, which lever can I put pressure on today? Traffic through the front door, my selling staff, my team, and I ask that question over and over again, do you hire on experience rather than personality and values? You hire this ultra seasoned salesperson, but they are completely abandoned of your core values, then you're not going to have a ton of success with them, right? So we've got to make sure that we've got the right people on our floor, on our team, to engage that audience. And a selling system, starts with greeting and engaging customers, understanding their needs, presenting a total solution to those needs, handling objections, and closing sales. And the truth is, most retailers miss 1, 3, or all 5 of those steps in the process, and they wait and let the customer buy. Customers should not be buying in our store. I mean, our job isn't to sell them. I shouldn't say that customers shouldn't buy. Our job is really to help them buy. Oh my gosh, that girl could sell a chocolate popsicle to a woman in a white fur coat. Yeah, well, good for her. Is that what the customer needed? And your selling system defines that outcome. Systems define outcomes. And we've got to recognize, you want to improve your sales? Maybe you need more traffic. Maybe you need better coaching. Maybe we got to fix the average sale in improve the average sale. A 10% improvement in one of those 3 factors drives sales up by how much? 10%. You guessed it, 10%. Yeah.
On the staff side, back to that 80% of advertising being lost on
bad salespeople
with the salespeople. Expand on that, Dan. Is that where they don't have the knowledge of what's being advertised, or is it more on just a shitty experience? And
for sure. You as a retailer are investing time and energy and money into your marketing strategy. And whether that's Facebook ads or Facebook Lives or, Google ads or newspaper or radio ads, whatever it is, you're dumping money into marketing that has one sole objective: drive traffic. Every single time I hear a retailer say, let's put an ad out, let's drive some sales. Okay, you're starting from the wrong place already.
Right.
Here I am preaching to the choir. Marketing doesn't drive revenue. Marketing drives traffic, right?
And back to your earlier opportunity of just, finding a way to better convert on that traffic.
Right.
You may be scratching your head thinking, I got to spend more money, or no, you just got to get a little better on
do a better job with what you have. And so when I say 80% of advertising dollars are pissed away on shitty salespeople, what I mean is salespeople that are not focused on the system, that are not trained and coached on a system that defines an outcome. What's the outcome? A big bag, right? Not $100 bag, $110 bag, not $110, $121. This steady, constant improvement, this Kaizen approach, this philosophy to never-ending improvement. And when we have people in our stores, in our midst, that are not completely focused on customer experience, the first dollar wasted is your advertising dollar, what it took you to get that person in the store.
Yeah, right on. Okay, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. Speaking of bag, let's go to our next story. A big bag of dog food on the petprocessing.net. We've got a story that they did some numbers showing, this is before the pandemic, 91% of Canadian dog owners surveyed that they preferred purchasing pet food through, I like this, the traditional retail channels, the neighborhood pet store, the vet clinic. Now, we're obviously seeing big growth on the online component. And geez, Dan, as I read this, I wonder, how many vet clinics are set up for e-commerce right now? And I'm thinking not many. And anyways, what are your thoughts on this story?
I'm gonna say, I think this story touched on 75 or 80% of customers in a given province. We're still buying from their local retailer and picking it up. And I'm gonna say that I think our biggest challenge in pet food is always the size of the bag. You know, the size of the dog. The bigger the dog, the bigger the bag. The bigger the bag, the more difficult it is to deliver, which is probably why we've seen challenges. I think that there's a great opportunity in creating a seamless routine delivery system. You know, can I deliver, we're going to use food. Can I deliver, you know, a 10-pound bag of food once a week instead of a 50-pound bag once a month? You know, is there a way to do that? And I mean, you go to vets are a little bit more specialized than the indie pet retailer out there. The indie pet retailer loves the big bag, loves the 20-kilo bags of food, stock their racks with them. And we've seen such great success in the pet business in planning dog food, in pet food, dog more importantly, they're more or greater revenue than cat. But we've still always been challenged with, how do I get it to my consumer? How do I come up with the drone delivering a 40-kilo bag of dog food to the front door? So you think maybe there's an online channel for that, but you see, we talked about this a little while ago. The last mile of delivery is the most expensive mile.
Very much, especially if it's 50-pound bag.
Right. And so listen, if you're running around with a teacup poodle, you know, you're carrying your weekly dog food in your breast pocket. It's not that big a deal. If you've got a lab or a large scale dog, or more than one, and you're buying larger bags of food, how do we make that delivery happen? And why did we go to larger bags? Because it was cheaper.
Right.
We drove the price of dog food down by increasing the quantity in the bag. It's not like a bag of chips, right? You know, we used to pay $1 for a bag of chips and it was full, and now you pay $1 and there's a quarter of a bag. It's air. Yeah. You know, that's not the way dog food works. Right. We put more in it so that we save money in packaging to deliver better value for that consumer. But now we can't deliver it to them. So we've got to relook at what's our mechanism look like. What does this look like? And there's huge opportunity. We know of pet stores today that are selling bulk pet food. So they're buying in bulk, packaging it themselves, making their own, baking their own treats, and shipping out small quantities. It is a success story. And we are still buying pet largely from, the grocery store or the neighborhood pet store. It's part of our weekly or monthly trip.
With the challenges of delivery, is this particular industry a real prime candidate for that BOPIS, the buy online, pick up in the store? Or
I think it is.
Doing enough of that so far?
I think, when I'm doing my drive-by, if I can text and somebody toss a bag of food in the trunk, maybe that's a high level of convenience. But we don't make any money in dog food. Retailers, here's a secret for you: there's no money in dog food.
Yeah, right on.
It's in treats and accessories and everything else. So
I'm got to you stopped short. You said drive-by only. You only. I sent Dan a long list of alternatives to his old saying of drive-by. I won't say it.
We called forever. We said sign. How did you hear about us? Well, sign, radio, TV, newspaper, flyer, direct mail. Sign. We just always called it a drive-by, but it's not as relevant.
Awesome. Well, a lot of great stories this week. And if you haven't yet, folks, head to retailbycrs.com, sign up for the newsletter. We've got the links to the stories that we talked about today. As well, there's additional stories that we didn't quite chat about, but still worth having a boo. Great story about a Shark Tank type opportunity. And, maybe it sparks an idea or two of what kind of little Shark Tank you can do in your store.
Okay, hang on, Rob. Hang on.
Oh, I'm stopping right there.
Hang on a second. Okay, I skipped by 2 articles this week. One of them. Okay.
We're going to talk about it then. Good.
Well, we're not going to. I'm just going to quickly. We talked. I skipped by the Shark Tank because I gotta build a better presentation. I mean, it was a very good article, really well written, but didn't talk about the immense opportunity of pop-up within your retail store, which is totally a Shark Tank thing. So I've got to rethink how we want to talk about that. And then the other one I breezed over was the news from yesterday or the day before about Mountain Equipment Co-op.
Right.
I breezed over Mountain Equipment Co-op. filing for creditor protection and looking at closing stores, and because there's a lot to play out in that scenario, and it's premature to talk about it. It was a headline grabber. That's it.
Yeah. I look forward to that Shark Tank discussion. Just for folks that I believe it was Lowe's has like set up a real formal approach to just trying to get rid of the red tape of getting your new, all you inventors out there and your pop-up, lines that trying to get into Lowe's. But to your point, right down to your corner little retail shop, that thinking with that Shark Tank mentality of how can I open the door to some local products, etc. So, okay, well, I look forward to that conversation. We also, our friend Ashley at the Boutique Hub, they had their the Boutique Awards, and so we'll have a link to that. And a
couple of great Canadian stores in there.
Some big winners, but even, what, if you weren't a winner, what a great opportunity to just see what other folks are doing too in all the various states and provinces. And so we'll have that link for you as well. Thanks for joining us, folks, on the Wealthy Retailer Podcast. Remember, it's brought to you by Canadian Retail Solutions. At their core, they believe in having real and relevant conversations and relationships, offering solution-based sales and services, maintaining a client-centered bottom-line focus, providing credible and complete care. They exist to make retailers better.
Love that. Love that. The boys are working hard over there. Boys and girls are over there working hard.
More the girls. The boys are coasters.
Yeah. I know. It's the ladies that keep that train rolling along over there for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, guys, thanks so much. Great job, Rob. If you've got anything you want to chat about, hit us up at thewealthyretailer.com. Catch our podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, and absolutely subscribe to that weekly newsletter and catch what we think are some of the more relevant headlines that are blasting out every week.
Right on. Have a great week, everyone.
Cheers.